So everybody's telling me that it's much better. I'm going to take it that things are better. Welcome to the show. I'm Jacob Israel. The Queen has passed away. This is big news today. And a new reign begins. You'll notice that pyramid in the background. There's a reason for that, because believe it or not, that pyramid's in like the backyard of where she is right now. Balmore. The Balmore or Balmore, Morale, Balmoral. That's the name of the castle, her summer house. Her death brings an end to the longest reign in British history. But is that the only reason why I'm here? Is that the only reason why I'm talking right now? No. Of course there's more to this story. I started covering the Queen for whatever reason back in June, right? Because the 70th, the Jubilee. Jubilee is a big deal. It's about when all the captives are set free. Now, the slaves that were set free back in Israel's day, when they were slaves to Egypt, hence that pyramid again. Let me pull that up so you can just take a look, because that's in the backyard. The pharaohs of old are still pharaohs today. It's all Egypt. In the scriptures, it all points to today. Like I say, I'm in New York. Babylon's down the street from me. This is a interesting time that we're alive. But when the slaves were set free, that's what Jubilee means, and we just covered that. I'm going to show you some of that because all this is going to tie together. When the slaves were set free from Egypt, it wasn't exactly so beautiful. It was actually pretty terrible. Everybody had to leave their homes. They were cast out. They were being chased. They were hunted. It was a scary, scary time. Is that what today is all about? Is that what we have to worry about in the future? I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm saying that the old order is gone and a new order is now in place. So now this news came out earlier today. There was a tweet from the royal family that the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Forgive me if you live over the pond. The King and the Queen consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. Of course, when I looked at it, I thought ball, and moral as in morals, the morals of Baal, but that's not what it means. It means like a fringed hat. That's just the name of the place. But the place is interesting because there is this famous pyramid for this winter, or I should say summer retreat. The Balmoral Pyramid is a concrete structure built in memory of Prince Albert, also known as Prince Albert's cairn. There are 11 of these stones. It's a stone, like the stone of Jacob. These stones, these pillars, these monoliths, if you will, all of them fitting together, and this is where the Queen has passed, in the castle there. And where is this pyramid? It's located in the estate near the castle itself, which is home to the Queen during the summer. It sits around 10 minutes outside of the small town of Balatar, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce anything. And of course, the estate is beautiful, and I'm sure it is. But a new king has just put out a message. And this message is, it's pretty sad, if you think about it. Statement from His Majesty the King, because of course now Charles is taking over. Short of something weird happening, he is next in line. The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms, and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world. That's true. This is a big deal. During this period of mourning and change, my family and I will be comforted and sustained by our knowledge of the respect and deep affection in which the Queen was so widely held. She held longer than anybody else. I think she was the second longest, but what does this mean? Well, this is what it means. Take a look at that picture right there. Can you get away from the gold? The Queen's son, Prince Charles, is first in line to succeed her, which is interesting because he is known to have very close ties with people that we question if they have the best interest of us in mind. People that think there's not enough food to go around, that too many people are destroying, the planet. And even though other people that have great minds say that this is not the case, people like Elon Musk, for example, he's one that says, we have plenty. He wants people to have more and more children. Very different story we keep hearing. But the now king, this was just a little while ago, the time to act is now. He urges businesses to see the virus of the crown. It's a gold. Never let something terrible go to waste. This is a golden opportunity. For what? For a new project, huh? Now the king. Interesting. The connections. Many people say, and I don't know if this is a accredited source, but this is just kind of giving you an idea of some of the many articles that are out there, that he's joined this movement, but has also signed into an agenda for reducing population of the world. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I do know he talks a lot about it. I do know that trident that was showing up everywhere showed up behind him when he was telling everybody that the greatest threat is climate change. This is why people need to really pay attention. This is very interesting because, he actually said in a recent interview that we need 4 planets to maintain the current population. So if we don't get 4 planets, that would mean that what? 3/4 of us should? Interesting. Now, I'm going to tie some things together in here that I didn't plan on because this is a quick rush show, but there was a set of monuments, America's Stonehenge, that was just smacked down. Remember, some people said it was hit by lightning. Others said that it was a demo job, but it doesn't matter because it was destroyed and then it was carted away. How many people here remember that? I hope that a lot of you do. It's also interesting that the Queen was projected onto Stonehenge during her, right before the American Stonehenge was taken down, the real one, the one that's, all the kooky people go to. That one was, let's just take a look. I actually did a video about this. Oh, we have over 1,500 people watching. That's great. Hey, do me a favor. Hit the like. We were off to a hard start. We had some audio issues, but I'm going to hopefully change that later. All right, so I'm just going to play this right now. And just give a listen. You know what else I think is cool? Stonehenge. It's a weird place, right? It's a weird place. All sorts of weird things happen on the solstice there. You know what they just did for the Jubilee of the Queen? So there you see the images of Queen Elizabeth all over Stonehenge. And of course, the controversy and the theories begin. Which is as strange as the fact that everyone was booing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle at the Platinum Jubilee church service. Kind of a bummer, right? Well, there's a picture of Queen Elizabeth lighting the Platinum Jubilee beacon with her grandson. Let's take a look at that beacon, shall we? Take a look right there. That's the fleur-de-lis. That's the trident. It's about slavery. That's the symbol of a slave. Ironically, the Jubilee in Scripture is literally known as the ram's horn. You know, the ram's horn that I have, the shofar that I have on my set that I got this year, that I just started blowing this year. Well, the ram's horn is meant to be blown on the 10th day of the 7th month of the 50th year, 7 cycles of 7 years coming to an end. The year of Jubilee is involved. It's a year of release and releasing people from their debt, from their bondage,
setting slaves free. All debts were to be forgiven. Property was to be returned to its original owners. It's about redemption and salvation and forgiveness. Perhaps that's why we see the world going kook-a-doo right now, because God's people need to be set free.
Now that's pretty interesting to me. That's pretty interesting to me for quite a few reasons. Charles just happens to be somebody who's very, very concerned about the climate. The fact that the Queen was just featured on Stonehenge, and then following that shortly thereafter, America's Stonehenge, the guide stones. Let's see if I could pull that up. The guide stones. This is interesting. All of this stuff is very interesting. Let's see what day they were destroyed, because I wasn't even thinking of putting all this together. Now, not that long ago. Let's take a look. Okay? Just move this over here. All right, so on the 6th of July, the guide stones were destroyed. I don't know if many of you remember or not, but if we take a look at some of the images, the famous ones have to do with maintaining population under a certain amount. It's like there are 10 commandments of it. Let's see if I can pull up a picture for you. Maintain humanity under 500 million. Now that's something, don't you think? Considering we have, what is it, like 8 billion or almost 8 billion people on the planet. So you got somebody who's very concerned about this. You have a monarch that's plastered all over the Stonehenge, and then, of course, a month, 2 months later, the guide stones, Stonehenge, gone. Now there's the passing of the torch. Now, if you remember correctly, the Queen, on her Jubilee, she hit a button, and it had this, it looked like a lit up strand of DNA that kind of circled and went to this tree and then went into this tree, as if she was taking her ancestral DNA and then putting it into the tree for what was to come. It's very strange. Very strange. Stranger still is that when she passed away, this is making the news right now. Whether it is true or not, we don't know. Because, anybody can say, oh, it's there. Unless you were there and you snapped that picture, I don't know. A double rainbow appears over Buckingham Palace. Now, that's interesting timing, don't you think? A double rainbow. We've talked about the rainbows on the show many, many times. Now, is this a good sign? Many say it would be, because it establishes God's covenant, a double covenant. So there's reason for us to have peace even throughout this transition, but it had to happen. Do you remember when the Queen was talking with Paddington Bear? This is Jack Posobiec, I guess. I always pronounce his name wrong. For whatever reason, he's been in my feed lately, and I just find it strange that 4 hours before we get the news that the Queen passes, he's sharing pictures out like this. Good old Jack's very big time into that movement, Trump's movement, which is, whatever it is. But don't you find it odd that he also, a couple hours before we found out about the Queen passing, there's a picture of her shaking hands with Shinzo Abe, who we know is no longer with us because he was killed by somebody when he was speaking. Queen just celebrated this moment, and she spoke to Paddington Bear at the end, and it was almost like she was saying goodbye. And it was almost like the bear was taking off his hat and bringing the hat down to give honor to the Queen. And we know on the show, and you're going to find out because I have another show that's going to come out. So it's already done. I wasn't planning on doing this at all. This is how quickly I threw this together. We're going to be talking about the bears. Elisha and her bears. His bears. He was a prophet. And the 42 children. It was a judgment that God called down on these 42 children. Many would say that it's a picture of the judgment God is going to call down on all those world leaders and all of those in the world that have made fun of the things of God. So it was interesting to me because back then I was talking quite a bit about the bear and I didn't understand why. And then we found out what happened with the children. That's a terrible tragedy. And then, of course, the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment came up, and it was a big deal. It was just strange because we were talking about all of this, and she has this conversation with Paddington Bear, where she's like, you better get your food ready. You better keep it stored away. Marmalade sandwiches for later, just in case, because there may not be enough food for you, according to King Charles. King Charles. So let's just take a look at that really quick. It's kind of like a powerful scene. Just kind of listen to it.
Happy Jubilee, man.
Reverence is paid.
And thank you for everything.
That's very kind.
Almost like saying goodbye. It was very strange. This was the 70th. This was the big event. This was the Jubilee event. Just very strange to me, all this stuff coming together at the same time. And of course, I know I saw some of you put in the comments, the live chat, which, by the way, thank you for coming, that they're related to Dracula. Yes, I did a silly video about all that. There is a lot of strangeness with people that are in power. We don't really know the ins and outs of everything, but it just seems to be like this double rainbow, this double dose. The rainbow comes after the flood in the story of Noah. The flood has come, and then the very ends of it, when the land starts to appear, it wasn't great. Israel being set free from Egypt wasn't great. The Jubilee isn't that great, and we're in that year. Donut loves to talk about this. I think it was the Shemitah, where everything's supposed to be released. And here now the Queen is gone. And the Queen's son, Prince Charles, is going to take over from where she left off. As Thomas Anonymous says, justice is coming. And yes, I do believe justice is coming. I do believe it. Thank you, Genius at Birth. I appreciate it. The double rainbow is intriguing for sure. A lot of this is intriguing. What intrigued me the most, what do they have a pyramid on their property for? You ever think about this? It's very strange. 11 more of the same ones. Well, we're going to see what happens. Thank you for coming. Do me a favor, share the video around, hit that like. All the stuff is in, you want to get yourself a Uranus as a planet. Uranus, that actually means heaven, believe it or not, but it's also a planet. Or any of the merchandise, the new stuff. The links are in the description. Get yourself a copy of the novel. The novel. It's the call-in. All of a sudden I'm using a weird accent and don't know why. And it's going to change and morph as I talk more. Because I got things to do. I got to get the Ethan off the bus. I got another amazing premiere to deliver to you. I'm going to deliver that to you tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. Ironically, it is sort of tied to all this. So, thank you for putting up with the audio issues. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just everything. I'm grateful for you. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.